Please give a big applause for the fashion show that was done virtual. In just a moment, we will start our panel discussion, but before that, we would like to inform you that for the participants, the committee have provided translation channel where you can attend for the Bahasa or the English translation. The first panel discussion with the theme Supporting the Creative Economy in the Post-COVID Era Through Modest Fashion will be hosted and moderated by the lovely Mrs. Tetra Tianiafi. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Tetra Tianiafi.
Thank you, MC. Mohon izin Pak Deputi. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We are now moving at our main agenda, that is World Conference. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzubillahi min sururi wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillah fala mudhillalah wa may yudlil fala hadiyalah. His Excellency Dr. Haji Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, our lovely Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy Republic of Indonesia. Also Ibu Angela Tanusudibjo, the Vice Minister of Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy Indonesia. Excellency Ibu Nur Asia Uno, our beautiful founding ambassador of the Global Modest Fashion Week Association. And also Bapak Deputi, Honorable Bapak Deputi, selamat datang Bapak. Thank you for being with us here. And also Honorable Ibu Jenny Cahyawati, founder and chairman of Indonesia Modest Fashion Week. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, virtual attendee, welcome to the World Conference of Modest Fashion Week. First of all, thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the Almighty God, that give us today the blessing to gather here at the Modest Fashion Week World Conference. My name is Tetra Tianiafi. I'm the officer of Directorate of Inter-Institution Relation, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Indonesia, and I will be moderating our first session at today's conference entitled Rewiring the Fashion Industry System to Support Creative Economy and Society Growth Post-COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, as we may be aware that the growth of modest fashion in Indonesia over the last decades generate great enthusiasm and commercial potential. While the COVID-19 create pressure, crisis, depression, suffering, threat, uncertainty, and challenges. Despite all the negative condition, we are ready to grow positive mindset to deal with the global outbreak in the years to come. For that, in our first session, we will have the subject to talk about how modest fashion can support the creative economy post the global outbreak. We are very blessed that today we have a lot of speakers coming from all over the world, from Paris, Miami, Casablanca, Kazan, and Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to introduce the speakers. Ibu Yuke Sri Rahayu. Hin Judar. Norsha Muhammad Garcia. Nora Sahrawi. Sahnat Mingazova. Also, Aisyah Nancy Navakovic. Since we have a lot of speakers, all the speakers will have 10 minutes to share with us the ideas on their presentation, and I will be very strict to remind all the speakers to manage her time. Without any further ado, I would like to invite to proceed into the stage yang terhormat Ibu Yuke Sri Rahayu. Ibu, please. Halo Ibu, sudah lama nggak bertemu Ibu, sehat?
Alhamdulillah bisa hadir dan menemani Mbak Tia hari ini.
Okay, since we have an interpreter, so we can speak to our attendees here in Jakarta. So Ibu, please, you have 10 minutes.
Baik, mungkin Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Untuk presentasi saya hari ini mohon izin dalam bahasa Indonesia, nanti akan ada yang translator ya. Baik, langsung mungkin ke paparan saya yang pertama, silakan. Silakan paparan saya yang pertama, slide pertama.
Tim bisa dibantu?
Iya.
Oke.
Oke. Kita diminta untuk untuk sharing tentang the globalized local modest fashion industry. Next-nya. Oke. Ini kok beda, sebentar ya. Sebentar.
Ibu kalau berkenan menjelaskan berdiri juga boleh, Bu.
Sebentar.
Ya, siap.
Apakah tidak ada kekeliruan untuk presentasi saya? Maaf.
Oh, ini dari Kementerian Perindustrian, yang dari Kementerian Pariwisata.
Iya, saya dari
ya, Ibu
judulnya
Yuke
ada
dari
Supporting
Kementerian.
Creative Economy in Pandemic Era to Modest Fashion. Baik, sambil menunggu mungkin ya Mbak Tia kita
Iya,
langsung
Bu,
saja.
kita ngobrol aja nih Bu.
Oke,
dari,
waktunya
terbatas 10 menit.
Baik,
Ibu,
oke.
ya, bagaimana dengan kondisi modest fashion di Indonesia hari ini?
Baik, modest fashion Indonesia, kita harus membuat definisi terlebih dahulu ya, bahwa cakupan modest fashion itu sangat luas, termasuk di dalamnya adalah fashion muslim. Jadi, dan sebagian besar pasar modest fashion di Indonesia didominasi oleh produk fashion muslim. Jadi fashion muslim adalah bagian dari modest fashion. Nah, sudah ada? Oke. Nah, data menunjukkan untuk modest fashion Indonesia di tahun 2020-2023, insya Allah secara global, di mana masyarakat dunia sudah mencapai 184 miliar jiwa atau sekitar 24,4% populasi penduduk muslim dunia. Ya, jadi tadi sudah disampaikan populasi muslim dunia ini cukup besar, dan untuk Indonesia sendiri dari 229 juta jiwa atau 87,2% penduduk Indonesia adalah muslim, sekaligus terbesar di dunia. Nah, bagaimana konsumsi fashion muslimnya sendiri itu meningkat sekitar 3,2% per tahun. Itu untuk modest fashionnya. Nah, proyeksi pertumbuhan industri fashion muslim ini diproyeksikan akan meningkat dari 2019 sekitar 277 miliar dolar US dollar, akan meningkat di 2024 sekitar 311 million US dollar. Nah, adapun ketika masa pandemi, bisnis fashion sebagaimana mungkin bisa langsung ke slide 3 atau slide 4, sebagaimana subsektor lainnya, semua kolaps ya, semua menurun. Dan termasuk juga untuk bisnis fashion. Penurunan fashion secara global sekitar 10-15% dibandingkan 2019, dan fashion muslim turun sekitar 2,9% di tahun 2020. Nah, adapun pasca COVID ini, ada perubahan bisnis ketika di masa pandemi dan menjelang pasca COVID ini. Yang next-nya mungkin ya. Lanjut, next. Next lagi. Nah ini perubahan bisnis fashion ketika masa pandemi. Jadi yang para pebisnis atau para pelaku usaha subsektor ekonomi kreatif ketika masa pandemi untuk eksis usahanya harus memperhatikan 3 hal, seperti yang disampaikan di strategi Kemenparekraf. Yang pertama adalah harus inovasi, kedua adalah adaptasi, dan ketiga adalah kolaborasi. Dan perubahan ini terjadi juga di bisnis fashion. Nah, untuk tren preferensi konsumen terkait dengan, untuk fashion khususnya adalah terkait dengan sustainability semakin meningkat sejak tahun 2020. Lalu ada pemasaran secara digital atau bisnis online semakin menjanjikan. Jadi banyak pelaku usaha subsektor kuliner transfer dari yang offline ke online. Dan memang itu suatu keniscayaan di era pandemi. Jadi inilah strategi adaptasinya. Lalu pengembangan fashion muslim untuk kebutuhan khusus meningkat seperti olahraga. Ya, jadi ada kebutuhan khusus untuk ke kantor, untuk olahraga, itu adalah salah satu kebutuhan fashion muslim. Selanjutnya adalah pengembangan inovatif dan sustainable material. Itu juga menjadi tren sekarang ini, di mana value nilai tambah dari fashion muslim adalah salah satunya adalah sustainable. Ya. Dan terakhir adalah tren trade, show, dan pameran mengarah semua pada digital. Seperti tadi fashion show yang disampaikan oleh teman-teman Indonesia Fashion Models adalah mengarah kepada digital. Next-nya. Next. Oke. Nah, adapun langkah pengembangan modest fashion di Indonesia, yang pertama adalah pengembangan desain yang sesuai dengan selera pasar termasuk pasar global. Itu yang harus kita upayakan. Yang kedua adalah peningkatan pengetahuan tren global termasuk preference style dari negara-negara lain. Nah, kita harus punya juga trend forecasting-nya. Lalu adalah yang ketiga, bantuan ahli yang kompeten di tingkat nasional dan global sebagai fasilitator. Yang keempat adalah strategi dan kolaborasi antara desainer, UMKM, pemerintah, manufaktur, dan industri, retailer, akademisi, dan pihak lain. Ini yang tadi disebut dengan pentaheliknya harus jalan. Dan yang kelima adalah senantiasa memperhatikan aspek keberlanjutan dari fashion yang etis serta mendukung ekonomi sirkular. Lanjut. Nah, bagaimana Kemenparekraf untuk support modest fashion di Indonesia? Di tempat kami di Direktorat Kuliner, Kria, Desain, dan Fashion, sejak tahun 2020 kita telah melakukan kegiatan Roundtable Modest Fashion, yaitu menyusun strategi pengembangan modest fashion di Indonesia. Lalu di 2021 tahun ini kita mencoba melakukan FGD yang disebut dengan Modest Fashion Meeting Series, di mana kegiatan Modest Fashion Meeting Series itu berupa diskusi virtual sebanyak 8 kali dengan melibatkan beberapa pihak seperti kementerian, lembaga, asosiasi, desainer, jenama, pengusaha industri, dan manufaktur, retailer, jurnalis, dan akademisi untuk menyusun panduan pendampingan dalam rangka atau menuju Indonesia menjadi pusat modest fashion dunia. Dan 8 meeting series ini kita FGD-kan dalam rangka mensupport, mendukung kebutuhan ekosistem modest fashion Indonesia. Jadi kalau dalam ekonomi kreatif di Undang-Undang Ekonomi Kreatif nomor 24 tahun 2019, subsektor ekonomi kreatif harus didukung oleh ekosistemnya. Jadi kalau tidak didukung oleh ekosistemnya, tidak akan tumbuh menjadi produk unggulan subsektor tersebut. Nah, ekosistem itu salah satunya adalah bagaimana pembiayaannya, bagaimana pemasarannya, bagaimana tentang peningkatan kapasitas, bagaimana tentang hak kekayaan intelektualnya, bagaimana tentang infrastrukturnya, bagaimana tentang penciptaan produknya. Nah, 8 meeting series itu kita mencoba memahami dari sub-ekosistem kebutuhan untuk pengembangan ekosistem modest fashion Indonesia. Dan di tahun 2022 rencananya karena sesuai dengan tugas dan fungsi kami di Direktorat Kuliner, Kria, Desain, dan Fashion, di mana KPI kami adalah penciptaan produk unggulan termasuk subsektor fashion, dan ini di sini katakan modest fashion. Maka tahun depan ini kita akan mencoba melakukan panduan pendampingan pelaku ekonomi kreatif khususnya modest fashion di lokasi terpilih yang melibatkan ahli sebagai fasilitator, dan diharapkan dari upaya-upaya usaha-usaha pendampingan tersebut kita bisa menghasilkan produk unggulan modest fashion nasional. Seperti itu, Mbak Tia.
Thank you, Ibu. You have a very good time management. You have 10 minutes. Very very good. And we are next moving to the next speakers coming from France. Hin Judar.
Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Hello, good morning. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Comment ça va?
Ça va très bien.
Ah bon. Now it's your turn, madam. Please.
Yeah. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I just want to tell you one thing. I don't speak English very well, but I'm trying to do my best for that. I think that today the conference is very important because first, you give me the opportunity to participate in this conference, which is important in the condition that the world is currently facing. For my part, I'm working with designers and fashion professionals of many nationalities. I see that they are facing the same problems, and not only in the term of socio-economic change, but also in terms of creativity. The first concern is to save jobs and also to think about the best way to stay active in the market, to continue. Since COVID, we are trying together to continue to work to maintain digital visibility about how to approach the market after the pandemic. And this conference is very important to continue to thinking together. I think the creativity is very important for economic development. First of all, locally by supporting the companies that work in this sector and by supporting their development internationally by targeting the markets that are emerging. Because actually the young generation who are potential future consumer have different behaviors and aspire to a more ethical and more modest fashion. And I think that Indonesia has an important role to play in this sector. I hope that you I am clear and that you are understanding my words. I cannot hear anyone. That is normal.
Yes, you can. We can hear you well. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We can understand what you just present us. We need the creativity.
Yeah, creativity, and I think we have to support the local companies and the local designers to save not only the job of their employees, but also to save the creativity, because it's very important to stay alive in this field. Creativity is very important in fashion. We have to be original, and in my part, I always support local artists and local designers in each country. And all together, we are trying to do cross our platform Oriental Fashion Show to show their work in Paris and other countries, to show how it is important to be different, but to target the same market, because all the consumers have a different way and they have a different, how to say, different, they have a different way and they are different thinking. Modest fashion is a part of international fashion, but it targets different people. And I think for the future, we must stay, we must be very attentive to how the markets will change after COVID, and we must be we must be ready for this changement.
D'accord. Okay, Mrs. Hin Jurdar. What time is it now in Paris?
I think it's 8:44. Yes, 45.
So is it too early to present the ideas?
Yeah.
So we are very happy that you are ready to share us the ideas about that the creativity is the important keys to further growing the modest fashion industries, not only in Indonesia, but also all over the world. And what do you think, yes, about you have an Oriental fashion show in Paris, since you are the founder. Can you tell us what it is about?
Yeah, it's like a fashion platform dedicated to, first it was dedicated to kaftan. You know, it's a long dress in North Africa and in the Middle East. And after that, we opened the market to more countries like Central Asia, and also to many countries from all over the world. Actually, we have 15 countries with who we are working, and we are trying to show through Oriental Fashion Show different styles and different way of work. We are trying actually to introduce more and more different, more culture, fashion culture in Oriental Fashion Show, especially in Paris, which is open. Actually, the market of fashion is open to a different style. and modest fashion is a big part of Oriental Fashion Show.
Wow, we are very honored to have a speaker from the France, from the Paris. Are you stay in Paris? Yeah, we are dreaming
Thank you, but
to.
my English is not. I cannot express myself
Non,
as
ça
I
va. Si
want.
vous voulez, je peux traduire ce que vous allez dire ici.
Vous parlez français?
Non, pas beaucoup. But it is okay. You already fit the time. You still have 2 minutes to give the ideas that creativity is the key for Indonesian designer go to Paris. Is it?
Yeah, it is. I think fashion and industry actually is still open to much more designers and different designers, and hope we can host designers from Indonesia. But in Paris, it's very important to work for long term. I think if designers from Indonesia want to show their collection in Paris, they must do it at least 2 times a year. And actually, we hope after COVID that we will back as before and work with different nationality and different cultures.
Yes, of course, because the sizing issue is quite challenges for Asian body and European body market. Is it?
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, of course. Thank you, Madam Hin Judar.
Thank you so much.
We are very happy to have you here, even though you are should
It's
wake
a
up.
great honor for me to be a part of this conference. It's very important to think about the after COVID and to think about the market after COVID.
Okay, thank you. Merci beaucoup, Madam.
Merci.
Yeah. And we are now moving to the third speakers. That is Norsha Muhammad Garcia. Hello. Can you see me? Can you see us here in Jakarta? Yes. Now the screen will be pinned on you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to wish good afternoon, hola, and salam sejahtera to the Minister of Indonesia, Tourism and Creative Economy, Dr. H. Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, to our new appointed exclusive founding ambassador of Modest Fashion Week Association, Honorary Ibu Nur Asia Uno. Happy birthday, Selamat Hari Jadi. To all the honorary guests, panelists, especially from Indonesia, to the media team and sponsor, to all my respected modest fashion colleagues and network all over here, to the audience watching the event here today, to the hardworking team of Indonesia Modest Fashion Week, Rosita Atik, and lastly to my beloved associate partner Jenny Tajwati, the founder of Indonesia Modest Fashion Week. Okay, I actually would like to take this opportunity to congratulate and thank you, terima kasih to Jenny Tajwati and her hardworking team, and also I believe with the Minister of Indonesia Tourism and Creative Economy to jumpstart this inauguration of Modest Fashion Week World Conference, and also the official launch of Modest Fashion Week Associations during Indonesia Modest Fashion Week. For me, it is such an honor for me to be here. This is actually is historical event. For some of you guys think this is just a regular event. It's not. This is going to be an historical event. It's such an honor for me when Jenny asked me how we can do it together. And I said, listen, it's such an honor for me to be back at the land of the birth of my great-grandfather, one of the 5 Bugis brothers, dying from Bon, Sulawesi, Indonesia, who established political dominance over the royal houses of Peninsula Malaysia, embroiled in the politics of the Johor Riau Sultan in the early 18th centuries. My name is Nosham binti Muhammad, actually, also known as Nosham Muhammad Garcia. I am the managing director of the Connected Group agency and the founder of Miami Modest Fashion Week, the first modest fashion week in the USA. Actually, I was born and raised as a commoner in the small village of Lingi, Negeri Sembilan, Malaysia, and currently I'm here. Actually, I love to share some of my expertise, some of the knowledge that I love to share with everyone, especially in Nusantara, in Southeast Asia. If I think I sent the presentation or the video, probably you guys can show to the audience.
Okay. Please, the video. While we are
No?
waiting, maybe we can further discuss from Bugis, Indonesia, then to Malaysia, then you are now in America. Wow, what a global mindset you have. And now why you are interested in the modest fashion?
Why I'm interested is my DNA. I born as a Muslim. I'm from Malaysia. I'm from Nusantara. I'm from Southeast Asia. Modest fashion is actually, the word modest is just recently we use that, but we born with that. And so, I think that it's my responsibility when I was introduced to to this industry before. Believe it or not, I'll be honest with you, I never care at first. I think when you travel abroad, sometimes you take things for granted.
Yeah.
And then when you look from the other side of the world and you say, oh my God, that is part of my life, and a lot of people, I don't think it's only me, I think there's a lot of people out there that travel abroad. And then when they travel, and then when they look from the other side of the world, and then they realize how important of the culture, their tradition, and the whole things. So I also present my presentation. Do you have it, or do you want me to send?
I
share
think
you
the committee need to find your presentation. I still have to wait. Then, do you think that it is possible for your design, because as here you are the founder of Miami Modest Fashion Week, which is, I'm sure it is not that easy to overcome in this industry. So tell us, if you can enter Indonesian market, is it what you are dreaming now, or should we go to your country to show our creative fashion modest design in Indonesia?
Actually, America is not my country. My country is still in Southeast Asia.
Oh, you
My
stay
job-
there in Malaysia?
To be honest with you, I'm actually, for me, to be the founder of the Modest Fashion Week in United States, is for me is I'm going to work with everybody.
Wow.
Work with everybody. For us is actually right now I think that modest fashion is actually a deeper meaning. Some people probably look at this just a business, but I think if you look carefully, just the word modest itself, when I take this, when I explore this industry before, be upfront with you, I came from sport entertainment. I've been in the sport entertainment for 6 years. I think like most other people, they just want to make their name out there. They want to make money, they want to make name, they want to be their face all over the social media. But when I discover, and there's more than that, and when I discover that this is becoming my responsibility, and because there's a lot of people out there, they have a lot of hope, dreams, whether they want to come over here. That's why the topic is to globalize the local to overseas. I think that the most important part, I had the presentation if you want me to put it right now to share. I
Yeah,
have
you
everything.
can share your own.
Yeah, I can. So it's easier because from there you can see they have to disable me.
Can you open the share screen? Since we still have 2 minutes ago, but I will give you additional time then,
Okay.
because you want to show us something in your video.
No, they not even allow me to share here. Can they see here who's this?
So is it
disabled?
possible for Indonesian designer to show
Of
their
course,
design?
of course.
How?
Yeah, of course. How? I mean, first of all, you have to know modest fashion is not size. Modest fashion is like different layers and things like that. And the good part, I can give you example. For example, abaya, and that is from Middle East. It's modest fashions, But the thing is now it's become westernized, and everybody not even know the name of abaya because they call it like resort wear, right? So the thing is, our job is actually why the presentation is so important that I want to show, because what I try to explain is actually what we try to bring into the modest fashion. We want the modest fashion have a soul, because most of the time that when you go to the fashion shows, it's almost always a cutthroat. But what we try to separate ourselves, there you are.
This one, your presentation, globalize the local. Okay, please.
So basically, that I'm not going to go through into very technical, but I want to go into more deeper meaning about some of the designers want to go overseas. How before they even go, what I suggest them to do first is keep going to the second page. Keep going to second page. Yeah.
Yes, I apologize for the third speakers. Okay.
Okay. So this is actually most of all the panelists. Everybody knows about this. Keep going down.
Next, ke bawah lagi, Mas.
Bawah lagi. Yeah. So, okay, keep going down.
Ke bawah lagi.
Keep going down. Okay, stop here. First, I think that this is everybody knows, how we can globalize my take how to globalize the local modest fashion business. First, before you even talk about sustainability, expanding, collaboration, support mindset, you have to go to your soul first. You have to know your origin. You have to know who your DNA. Why it's so important? Because that is your own identity. Keep going down. You have, this is what people most of the time, that the way I look at it, because you have to ask who you are first, and then because who you are is the image, who you are is the brand, because that's the most important part. Once you know who you are, and then from there, the way how you can separate yourself, whether your product is very different from others, and also because the culture exists whether you do something about it or not. So as you can see, I'm wearing Jenny's Tajwati dress right now. It's actually songket. So I think that the songket is something very unique. So this is kind of thing that I really advise most of the designers want to go abroad. Before they even waste their money, waste their time, they have to ask themselves first. You know, they have to ask themselves. The image is not the image on the face. The image is their self. You know, how they carry, who they are. So, because otherwise, the same thing like clothing, you know, like if you don't even know where the clothing made and what is that, you know, the material itself, where it came from, it's nobody going to appreciate it. So this is the only commodity that cannot be copied. You know, like, of course, I'm not talking about copy the style. I'm talking about your own version.
Okay. Madam Nursyam, I apologize. We have 3 minutes while the other speakers are waiting. The DNA for try to find our identity in our design is important. Can you maybe you just stay here? Maybe there will be another question from the audience. So now I have to move to the third speakers. That is, I'm so sorry, Nursyam, is it okay?
No, don't worry.
Yeah.
No,
but
no problem.
The ideas are
No,
very clear that the identity, the DNA is very important to post your market. And the next speakers is from Morocco, Miss Nora Sahroui. Hello, Nora.
Oh, hold on.
Nora? Okay. Nora is not in here. Next speaker is Zahnat Mingazova. Zahnat, are you there? Yeah.
Yes, Assalamualaikum.
Ya, Assalamualaikum, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Zahnat, is it correct spelling to call your name?
A
Zahnat?
little bit no. Right will be Jannah.
Okay, Jannah Mingazova. So, apologize to misspell your name. Please, it's 10 minutes on your screen.
Okay, firstly, I want to say that I'm honored to work with all of you. Because of my English, I can't express this correctly, but this means a lot for me. And I want to open this theme through the post-COVID situation by our experience, I mean Russia. And firstly, a lot of brands have gone online. I mean here, our brands. And because our government started to use special codes for vaccinated people in offline, we need them to visit shops, showrooms, and that's why online sales have increased. And the second thing that I wanted to note about digital fashion. I mean, because of increasing online sales and because of general comfort, it will be very good. I mean, it will be great for modest fashion brands to be ready to give clients chance to try on clothes online. And plus, this measure will give interest from generation of Zoomers, and it will reduce the number of returns to purchased clothes to 40%. And this is according to AR Insider. And of course, I should note that people lost their purchasing power due to the pandemic. There was nowhere to go, panic, so people began to spend less money on clothes. And modest fashion brands should pay attention, that's why, and create environmental friendly, reasonable consumption, rational wardrobe, because there is no need to buy a lot of clothes now. And in this case, of course, each government should think about supporting local designers. And this also applies us as modest fashion leaders, as influencers. And I'm trying my best because I'm working with modest fashion brands here, not only as a founder of Modest Covered and also as an influencer, as a blogger. Thank you.
You are welcome, Sahnat. You are blogger, so you know how the world enthusiasts on the modest fashion. We still have 3 minutes for your time.
I'm so sorry, but
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't see you. I see only B letter.
Okay, but can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay. Have you ever been to Jakarta?
Yes, I have been as a blogger twice
Do you write?
to halal trip and non-halal trip to Bali.
Do you put our story, your story on Indonesia into your blog?
Yes, of course. I told about tourism in Indonesia, in Jakarta, and I loved it so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Jannah. Jannah, your name is Heaven. You are beautiful as as heaven. Thank you, Jannah. We are moving to the next speaker. Then there is. Do you still have a speakers here? Aisa Nancy Novakovic. Yes. Hello, Assalamualaikum, sister. Aisha. You are still mute.
No.
Assalamualaikum,
Can you hear me now?
Aisha. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, sister.
Wonderful to be here, and I know that you're strict with the time limit. So, why don't we just jump straight into the PowerPoint presentation? So, I'm going to share my screen. One moment. Let's go to share screen. Okay, so I need to be enabled. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Share screen, host disabled. Okay, so I need your team to enable my sharing capabilities.
Team,
So while
technical team, can you help Aisha to share her presentation? Yes.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. So in the meantime, I'd like to make my acknowledgements as well. I would like to acknowledge His Excellency Minister Santiago Salahuddin Uno. I would like to acknowledge also Her Excellency Ibu Nur Asia Uno, who's also our global founding ambassador, and that's so exciting. I'd also like to acknowledge Ibu Jenny, who is the founder of Indonesia Modest Fashion Week, and her very hardworking team. She is an incredible trailblazer. I'd also like to acknowledge my fellow founding members, Norsham, Nora, and Jannah. It's wonderful to share this platform for you. And also my other fellow panelists. I'm always learning so much from you. And lastly, because I live in Perth, I'd like to pay my respects to the elders of the Wajak people of the Noongar Nation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And let's see if this is going to work. Yes, fantastic. Share. Now let's go to, let's see if I can actually, just going. Okay, so can you see the slide now?
Of course, of course.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's get on to it. Now, a little bit about myself. Who am I? Okay, so I am half Indonesian, half Yugoslav, and I was actually born in Makassar. I'm actually originally from Tanah Toraja, which is here. So that is a beautiful, interesting, ancient civilization, and I'm very proud to come from that region. And most of my family is in Sulawesi Selatan and in many parts of Indonesia. Then I came to Australia when I was 6 weeks old, and I lived in a very interesting place in the middle of nowhere called Coober Pedy. So it's historically an opal mining town. My father being a Yugoslav man from Montenegro, there were many migrants like him who actually migrated to Kuba Pedy in order to do the opal mining and also in other places to do gold mining. So that was back in the 80s. My father passed away in the 80s when I was 4 years old. My mother is Indonesian, and we lived in the outback before going to Adelaide, which is the capital city of South Australia. And then about 23 years ago, we ended up here in Perth, which is currently where I reside. Perth is the capital city of Western Australia and about 3.5 hours from Bali. So we are literally the gateway to Asia, which is actually really important in terms of proximity. And now that we have the IA-CHEPA, the free trade agreement between our two countries, we hope that the infrastructure continues to be developed in order to facilitate not just trade and commerce between our two countries, but also greater cultural exchange, which I'm really passionate about. So how did Modest Fashion actually come to be, not just in Australia, but in terms of my company? How was it born? Well, Modest Fashion has its own niche. It's really come about to become more popular in the last 10 years. I've always been fascinated with it. I even wrote about it when I was a student at university. And then in 2017, an opportunity arose for me to work with the Telstra Perth Fashion Festival. And it back then was the main premier festival for our state. Okay, so they wanted me to help them put together a multicultural runway. And that was really the start. It received so much positive feedback from basically the wider public, including non-Muslims. It also became a platform for little businesses that were run by female entrepreneurs who were selling clothing, usually from home, to have a place to showcase. So then I went on to establish Modest Fashion Australia as a company the following year. And we started to create different creative products. So we had the opportunity to work with Formal Haut Zamel. Some of you may know him as an amazing designer, actually from Padang, from West Sumatra. And we decided to actually do a campaign, and I'd like to play the video. Okay, so here's a little timeline for us to remember as if we need any reminding. But before I continue, really quickly, with that campaign I ran with Formal Haut, why it was really important to use different stylistic tools and actually to locate it in South Perth was because we wanted to play with contrast, this idea that you have these very overtly Asian, Indonesian costumes, incredibly detailed with their embroidery. It's from his royal collection, but to actually locate it within a context which was really unexpected with the Perth City skyline behind the photos, and also to bring in a very multicultural element to show that actually fashion is a universal language, including modest fashion, and it can transcend what we call our geographical faith, language, cultural barriers. So here we have a lot of people who are not Indonesian. None of the models here are Indonesian except for Formal's brother.
But we have Aboriginal models, we have Muslim models, we have non-Muslim models, and so on. And that was really important to make that point that modest fashion really is universal and it is for everyone. So that's the premise of how I run my company and my campaigns. However, has it been challenging in order to translate across the divide? Yes, it has. But before we get to that, which is on the next slide, I want to talk really quickly about the collaborative partnerships that Modest Fashion Australia and our e-commerce website, Secret Sky, has built with Indonesian brands. I have to acknowledge Ifa Dewi, who's been incredible in the space, with Solgan Batikum actually wearing one of her designs at the moment.
Sister Aisa, I apologize that Sister Nora is already here. Since I only have 60 minutes, I will give you 2 minutes, 2 minutes more. Okay.
I can wrap it up really quickly. So
Okay.
we've got the, yep, not a problem. I'm nearly done. And just to acknowledge that I've also been working with Ibu Meroda, who is from Kotakan in Toraja. Okay, so some of the challenges really quickly, product market fit. I think someone's mentioned, I think you mentioned also about the sizing issues, really huge challenge. Tiny Asian sizes, trying to translate for Australian buyers has been a struggle. Even Asians living in Australia tend to be larger. Pricing, we need to have greater conversations about what is the pricing point, because we need to think about ethical supply chains and who's actually producing the product. It shouldn't be an exploitative relationship. There's also a lack of awareness by the general public, I have found in Australia and in non-Asian countries, about the incredible craft and the work. Like when you think about the hand-woven fabrics, when you think about batik tulis, when you think about all these kinds of ancient practices and how much they're actually should be valued at. So we're going to wrap up, not a problem. Do I have time to play one more video? Or
just take it easy, sister. Don't worry. Don't be hurried.
Okay. Let's go to, that's all my information. That's the second last slide. And I've got 1 minute to play a final video, which was actually our launch video. And it was meant to be a little bit provocative and a little bit revolutionary. So I'll leave you with this.
Okay then, Sister Aisa.
Constantly pushing the back of my heart. Can't let it go. Pushing me say it isn't so. Don't tell me that you know what I should be. You know your eyes are laying down on me. Don't tell me that you know what I should be.
Okay, that's my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Sister Aisa. Hope that you can show your design here in Jakarta soon.
Inshallah, we're waiting for the borders to open and we'll be there as soon as we can.
Inshallah. Don't go, just stay because we still have another speakers who is already, I already call her, Sister Nora Sahrui. Sister Nora. Sister
Yes,
Nora.
I'm here.
Assalamualaikum.
You can see me?
Yes.
Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you? Sorry to be late.
It is okay. Where are you now? In Casablanca, Morocco, or?
No, I'm in France.
Ah,
And I'm in my parents' house, so I'm in Marseille.
Bonjour. Il a quelle heure maintenant là-bas, à Cannes?
Yeah, I live in Cannes, but I came to see my parents, so it's 2 hours away from Cannes. It's Marsilia.
Okay. Now you can start your presentation.
Sorry, it's my time, okay. So I'm Nora Sahawi, I'm a fashion designer and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in the fashion industry almost 20 years now. I started when I had 17 years old to work with my dad doing production little bit everywhere in the world, in Italy, in India, in China. So first was a small business, then it became big. And it's some things I didn't choose. I never know what's mean entrepreneur, and I didn't know what's mean be a fashion designer. It's just some things came to me, and it become what I am today. So fashion came to me, like I said, when I had 17 years, and one day I went to London because I wanted to change, because I was studying on a finance, and friend of mine, he had like a big shop, and I teach him, I say, why you don't do that? Why you don't do that? And he said, oh my God, you know all these things, so you're a fashion designer. And I said, oh really, I'm that? And my last 15 years, I become like, I was in London doing like big line. I was in Dubai for 7 years doing that. And today we're launching with Norsham, Nor and Nora. So we're going to have many designers. We want to teach them how to become designer, to teach them how to be an entrepreneur. And sorry, I'm saying so many things at the same time. And I'm very happy to be here today. And if you have any questions, just tell me.
You have a typical French who speak very vast, but we are very happy that you are here. Since you know, for fashion designer, France is the Mecca, is the kiblat for fashion industry mainstream. Are you happy that Indonesia is ready to be the next modest fashion Mecca for all the world? Or you just think that Indonesia is a very potential market for you to sell your product here?
I think Indonesia can be, if you understand fashion, it's easy. If you understand your body and if you can keep your DNA on your designs, so if you can make that to travel everywhere in the world, you can be the number one. I mean, French people is to be samples, understand the body, have only the touch. That's the DNA of French people. Indonesia is about the broderie, it's about the special fabric. If you know to mix that, and yes, Indonesia can be the next, and I'm sure it will be.
Thank you, Sister Nora. And we are still have 5 minutes for question and answer. 15 minutes actually. Maybe from this Balairung, is there any question? Or I can ask all the speakers here to give me kind of priority words that we can put in our mind to challenge the post-COVID-19 condition for the modest fashion industry.
Yeah, if you have any question, you can.
Yeah, from the first speakers, maybe you can highlight the tip how to overcome with the COVID-19, post-COVID-19 in fashion industry, especially for modest fashion. Sister.
With the COVID-19, what is good today is the digital. So everyone now, that's going to be like what I'm going to do. Like we're going to be on YouTube today, the e-commerce, and that's the good things. We teach, the COVID-19 teach us to work in different way. Before was more easy, like when you're looking for a customer, you're looking for e-commerce, you're looking for a shop. So today, because the COVID was very hard to us, like any designer, any entrepreneur, any businessman. So now what people want to do is to have their own website. So you don't sell to the other website because the COVID, I mean, I had like some supplier I'm working with, he just called me and said, Nora, can you come to take your good? Because it's not working. We have the COVID, we're not selling. This is the first, when the COVID starts. So that I had like many friends say, but Nora, what we're going to do, we're going to have our own e-commerce and we're going to sell on Instagram, before you send just the pictures on Instagram and you do some publicity, you sell it. Now everything changed. Now you need to do a video. You need to do like illustration. So COVID teach us to work in different way and to learn every day, every day. And before people were scared, but today people, I don't say that the COVID, it's over, it's not. But the people now we live with the COVID, and we learn so much things. I mean, so many things are positive with the COVID. Now we learn that we cannot just wait for this shop or this customer to sell our goods. We learn that we need to do our own work. It's not only designs, we need to learn to sell. Because to be a designer is to sell to the customer too. Okay. Like my first work, it was like looking for a new shop, looking for the new e-commerce to sell my goods. But now, the way I'm doing now is I want to have my own e-commerce. I want to develop my own YouTube. I learned to do like, we buy like the new camera to do like some illustration. That's what we're going to do like soon, like in February in norandnora.com. And I'm doing that on my own Gzela.com. And okay. That's the good thing. So, I mean, every situation we need to take the positive things.
Okay, Nora, your answer is go digital. What about Hind? Sister Hind Jurdar, can you tell me the highlight to overcome with the post-COVID-19 for your industry, fashion industry? You are still mute, sister? Yes.
Okay, now I think it's good. You hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
I think, in my opinion, of course, digitalization it must be a part of the fashion, but not only. We must keep attached together, and I think creativity, ethic, and quality is very important. We don't need to do market don't need a quantity. Of course, we have to face the market, but we need to have more quality, more ethic, and more creativity in fashion.
Okay, then Sister
And
Nur,
we have to save a link between, between all the designers and the markets. I think actually from Oriental Fashion Show, from the beginning, we did digital fashion weeks and fashion show, but I moved also, I think, in 3-4 countries in the world, and we did also a fashion week, and we keep touch connection between France and Morocco, Dubai, Central Asia, and it is very important also to have a real touch, a real connection between us.
yes, I agree. It is just what Ibu Yuka said, that collaboration, innovation, and adaptation with the condition of today's. And the third, I would like to invite Sister Norsham. Do you still have a video to share us? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I think your team have the video. I sent everything to your team today.
Okay. Can technical team help us to screen the video from Sister Norsham? So Ibu Yuka, while we are waiting, do you think that Indonesia is ready, while the ecosystem is in going process to welcome the import from other countries come to Indonesia. Tentang ekosistem, Ibu, apakah Indonesia siap untuk menerima desainer-desainer asing yang akan segera masuk ke Indonesia?
Dengan kemarin kita membuat FGD ya, meeting series terkait dengan ekosistemnya, lintas kementerian, lintas lembaga, asosiasi, akademisi, para desainernya juga, insya Allah ya kita siap untuk itu ya, dan menjadikan Indonesia di tahun 2000 menjadi pusat modest fashion dunia, insya Allah.
Okay. So, sister from all around the world, Ibu, you can just tell us we are ready to welcome your design to compete with Indonesia designers and let the market use the product and where the market is growing for modest fashion, not only in Indonesia but also all over the world. Sister Nur Syam, do we still have a time? Technical? So otherwise, if we are still waiting for the video, Jana, you will, Sister Jana, maybe you want to give the highlight from your ideas, how to deal with the post-COVID-19?
I just wanted to tell you about experience of my friend. She's a director of Marina Rinaldi, Max Mara Fashion Group. And one day we spoke with her, and she said that the best thing that helped them in this pandemic situation was online showcases. They helped them very much. It increased their sales, and she said that she recommends this to every designer, every shop, local brands. So this is the last thing I wanted to say today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. We are very happy also here. We are a lot of diaspora from Indonesia, from Makassar. We are very happy to have our sister all over the world to share us the creativity on modest fashion design. I think we still have 10 minutes from the audience in this room.
Excuse me. I wanted to show you a video, share with you a small video. Is it possible?
Yes, sister, please.
Yeah, just to show you how is the creativity can be all over the world and how it can be presented in Paris cross platforms or cross fashion weeks. Just a moment. This is I'm trying to find my video. Okay, can go. You can see?
Not yet.
Oh, sorry. I just want to share with you. Share, partager l'écran.
I can see.
Okay. You can see now?
No, cannot.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to.
D'accord.
You can?
Yes, we can hear the voice, but not see the.
Not?
Only the voice.
Oh. I don't know how to do, but a normal. It's just a mix of our, highlights of our work across the world.
Sounds like we are in the Paris to see the fashion show.
Sorry.
It is okay, sister. It is just to share the ideas and the insight how we can
just a different style of different designers from 50 countries, from different style like kaftan, chapan, evening dress, and all of this style are modest but very elegant.
Okay.
a lot of creativity.
Okay.
So actually, if you have a chance, I would like to show to you something that actually coming from Jenny. Are you there? And because of Jenny's dress, sorry, on the cover magazine, it's not because me, I want to show my face, but actually that back to your question earlier, you were asking, you think whether Indonesian designers' works can be in overseas. That's why I live in this country for 33 years. Never underestimate our own people, Asian, Central Asia, and believe it or not, Jenny's dress. Jenny, even though she's very soft-spoken, but her dress is very loud. So that's why I want to show you the presentation earlier. Unfortunately, cannot get through. I also have the video if you have a chance. If you want, I can share. If you don't have that, that's fine.
Now we just try. We still have 7 minutes. Maybe Ibu Jenny, you want to say hello to your friends? Ibu Jenny, maybe you want to say, oh Pak Iman, please Pak Iman. Great. That's your video, Nursham?
Yeah, there's a video from
Yes.
prior Modest Fashion.
Yes. Once I met the designer from the Dubai that you show from the video. And next, Bapak Iman Santosa, Bapak, you want to give some comments or question for the speakers?
Okay, thank you, the moderators. Yeah, thank you for the speakers who has already give inputs on this our events. I just want to ask about this event. Modest Fashion Week World Conference is quite new for, I think, for the yes, some of Modest Fashion Week. And then I think, yeah, we are happy that the Modest Fashion Week around the world, such as from the Australia, from France, from Miami, from Russia, has yes, some what do you call it, like agree to appoint Mrs. Uno Sandiaga, Miss Nur Asia Uno as a founding ambassador, and yeah, we are happy to hear that. But I just want to ask you about how's the important. What do you think for the role of the government in supporting the developing of hijab or modest fashion around, especially in your country? Because in Indonesia, we are the government already here to support the ecosystem, to make the ecosystem for the development of modest fashion. But what I'm I have information. Not in every country the government support the ecosystem for the modest fashion. What do you think about the role of the government to support the development of developing of the modest fashion? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bapak Director. So, Pak Iman is our Director for Institutional Relation. So please, all the speakers, answer what your expectation from the government.
I can answer that. I can say, to be honest with you, this is the part when you asking me question, I say that it's become my responsibility. Because first of all, you have to know America is a Western country. Like most of in Southeast Asia, Dubai or Middle East, most of the governments already hands the money to most of the entrepreneur, businesses or anybody who want to get involved with modest fashion. For us in the Western country, especially like Aisha and me, we have to do a lot of work. That's a lot of work. We have to educate people. We even have to tell them what is modest. They don't even know what is modest. So so for some people, things it's easier, but it's not. That's why I'm self-funded my project. Even though there's some people want to be. That's why collaboration is very important. To work with the right people is the most important. You can have a ton of people in your social media, or you can be the leader, like ton of it. But you have to know the soul, the leader, how ethical the leader is. Because towards the end of the day, the people that are true, devoted, try to push, not just make money. Like me, I came from the village. For me, I know each of people in Asia, they're very talented. That's why the mindset of sometimes that's why I was saying earlier, don't go even talk about sustainability if nobody even know, not even change the mindset. Because a lot of people have been saying that. Look at we can make clothing in Asia. It's cheap. It's craft. That's not, sometimes, to be honest with you, our craftsmanship is so rich, so amazing. I can walk into the room, I talk on behalf of myself, and I walk with Jenny's dress. People stop, not because I'm beautiful, because the dress is loud, because the dress has the motif of Borneo. Everybody asks me. So the point I try to say is back to what you're asking, Mr. Director. That's why I myself, even though nobody support me, but it's my job to know that each of the girls in Asia can be on the platform that how I built. And that's why I'm bringing each of this association. There's a lot of leader out there, a lot of modest fashion founder, thing like that. But you know what? The government have to go to each of this founder to know what is, what is their motive, how resilient is, whether they just want to be out there in the face or they are true entrepreneur. So the thing is, that's why our Modest Fashion Association that we create, we try to nurture the true designer, the true individual that really do not have platform, that really want to go out there. But nothing come easy. You have to work hard. You cannot just pray to God, but you have to tawakkal and work hard on that. The way I say that, because I'm there. And that's why Modest Fashion Association, we try to create, we want to bring this platform to everyone that really want to be out there. This market is huge market. And then, I know that I have 2 minutes. Another thing, the most important part I want to tell. If you look into the history, how the real market fall apart, because of, if you study, you know what happened. That's why back to the modest fashion, we want to make sure that we want to push modest fashion to be the hot, the high end, fashion as well, because a lot of even our own people say, I can get it, I can get cheap in my country, or some of diaspora overseas, they will say to some of the designers from their own country, no, if you bring to America, you have to sell this cheap. Who are they to say that? The craftsmanship they do, they have to work. For example, somebody from Borneo, take them 2 days, 3 days to do the songket, to do the ikat, to do the whole thing. That's the same thing like some people. The only thing right now is our job to create the platform, to make a right brand, to place that into right, to the right place. And that's why each of the team have their own expertise. Nora in the business since she was 17 years old. She been doing this, like to support her family before. And Asha, she actually came from the village as well. She came from Sulawesi. Now she is the founder of Australia and the founder of Secret Sky. And then Jeanette is actually from Kazan. She is the first thing when I talked to her, and she said, I just want to help people. This is the true leader. We're looking for ethical leader. And that's the kind of thing so any government out there, before you give the money to anybody, you have to look to each of this person, where to put the money. Otherwise, you're going to waste it. Otherwise, this is what happens.
Add some things to Norsham. Education and teach the new designer coming. We're not selling dresses, you're not selling clothes, you're selling a story behind. And that is very important. Every time I talk about the Jenny with the story, Norsham says when I have the dress of Jenny, it's like she have Jenny with her, she have the story of Jenny, she have her walk with her. So every time when you do any presentation of your collection, talk about the story, talk about what you did to have all this collection, the work behind, and after talk about the dresses. So education is very important. So that's, I just want to add that. So you said everything you need, I wanted to add this very special point.
Just jump in before we run out of time. I was wondering when this question was going to get asked about the governmental support, and Norsham rightly mentioned that it's harder for those of us who are living in Western countries, and I take my hat / hijab off to Nora, who lives in France, and that's got an interesting history and contemporary reality. In sometimes in our cases, our governments can sometimes be leading the Islamophobia and can make it really hard for us to be practicing Muslims and to confidently promote modest fashion as a legitimate niche within the fashion industry, one to be respected, one to be supported, one to be funded. So particularly from my perspective here in Australia, I'm used to liaising with government departments and looking at funding. I have been funded and supported, but it's very sporadic. It's not done in a concerted, strategic or coordinated manner in the way that Indonesia has established a whole portfolio attached to tourism called Economy Kreatif, which I think is really clever, because I think if you look at and that's why I'm really heavily invested in seeing Indonesia take its rightful place as a global leader universally and to universalize its economic reach. In terms of trying to get designers to come in for market penetration with governmental support, it's not easy. What is lacking is sometimes the governmental support, and we as individuals, as these sole entrepreneurs, as Norsham said, are expected to carry this heavy burden into creating the trade and commercial infrastructure without resourcing and support. That's actually a really stupid strategy. That's actually a non-strategy. That's a strategy, or that's
basically doomed to failure. So in terms of the infrastructure we have with the IA-CEPA and this is the free trade agreement, for those who don't know, that we recently signed between our two countries. Modest fashion, so these conferences are really important because it actually puts modest fashion under the spotlight where it needs to remain for the long term in order to not only generate momentum, as their opening remarks suggested, but also to achieve something called critical mass. In order to achieve critical mass, it means we need sustained, intentional effort. I'm going to say one last thing because we could have a whole session on just this topic, but we can continue this conversation offline, is that essentially we cannot always wait for our own governments to assist us. So opportunities like this to have these international collaborations, to work with countries where their governments are internally supporting the development and expansion of the ecosystem, is where then it's upon us to plug into that system and hopefully to loop back with the traction back in our own countries. So don't wait for government, don't wait for funding in your own countries, but literally jump on board with the collaborative opportunities that are present like today.
Okay, great. Can we give applause for all of us here and all the speakers that just share us how we can grow all together. So I think that's the end of the first session for our World Conference on Modest Fashion. So after this, I thank you all, our fellow speakers. Ibu Yuke, thank you very much. Also our sister from France, from America, from Morocco. Oh, we thank you very much for all. Growing together with collaboration, innovation, and adaptation with the digital technology. Whether it is artificial intelligence for sizing your clothes and many more. The newest technology can help. We can get out from the global outbreak. Thank you. I thank you very much, Bapak Iman. Thank you for your very good question. Let's close the first session with recitation Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, Ibu sama-sama. Siap, Ibu. Ya. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now moving to the third fashion show. So please enjoy the virtual fashion show. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon from Jakarta to all participants and also for all fellow speakers. Now we are at the second session. From the first session, we will outline that modest style is a fashion in ladies wearing. much less skin-revealing clothes in a manner that satisfies their religious and stylistic necessities for the motive of faith. Or it is a kind of non-public preference, or it is a kind of personal preference. Modest fashion operates across religious and cultures. However, Muslim women are the primary users, especially Indonesian women. And the market, the women Muslim are continued to demand more. So, without any further ado, I would like to welcome the second speakers. Since the global brand is entering the modest fashion market, if I can name it, such as Vogue, H&M, Nike, and many more, the market seems wider. And for the second session in today's World Conference, we are focusing on how can we globalize the local modest fashion business, how Indonesian designers can be in the international stage. And without any further ado, the speakers coming with us are from New York, Dubai, Qatar, and they will be here virtually. In the second session, the speakers are Ibu Eratna Utaria Ningrum. And then Liali Albana. Asia Muhammad. Nur Fahrin Azfi. Bapak Basri Kamba. Dr. Ahmad Saleh Kusno Wibowo. Deva Rahman. Since we have 7 speakers, so all the speakers will have 10 minutes to share with us here. And I also want to invite together with me, Ibu Deva Rahman. I'd like to invite you to proceed into the stage. Welcome, Ibu. Silahkan Ibu. So the role is we have not more than 10 minutes. I try to manage the time, but hopefully the ideas are very important. So I try to be strict to remind all the speakers to manage their time. Without any further ado, I'd like to invite the first speaker. That is from Ministry of Industry, Republic of Indonesia. Hello, Ibu.
Hello. Hi.
Can you see us here, Ibu?
Yes, I have you.
Yes. Now, now the screen is yours, Ibu.
Okay, thank you. The honorable panelists in Modest Fashion Week World Conference, also the representative of Modest Fashion Business. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon for everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ibu.
Okay. First of all, let us praise to the God. Because of His blessing, we are able to attend this online meeting. Through this conference, we can learn and support and modest fashion industry so that it might develop in both of domestic and global market. On this occasion, we will present about Indonesian modest fashion industry and our program in development in the industry from Ministry of Industry. Okay, next slide. Indonesian textile and apparel industry has an excellent performance through several years. However, its performance is slowly decreasing during the pandemic. In the 2020, the industry export value reached the $0.6 billion US, and the first semester in 2021. The industry export textile and apparel products nearly $7 billion US. We currently hope that the industry may rise again in the pandemic situation. Next slide, okay. Indonesian small and medium enterprises has been contribute greatly for the industrial sector, especially in terms of number of enterprises. Based on the data in 2019, the apparel small and medium industry accounted 614,000 enterprises, which makes them the third largest contribution in total number in Indonesia small and medium industries, with share account 14%. That small and medium industry output also contribute 94 trillion rupiahs in 2020, or nearly 34% from total output in Indonesian apparel industry. When we talking about modest fashion industry, the business is also part of textile and apparel industry, and it mainly consists of micro and small medium enterprises. Okay, next slide. Modest fashion industry has a hope, has potential and bright future, and both by the growth of the world Muslim population that triggers the consumption of Muslim fashion product. The Indonesians spent $16 billion US in the 2019 Muslim fashion, which include top 5 consumer, along with Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan and Indonesia. And Indonesia also lists among top three countries that development of the best Muslim fashion after United Arab and Turkey, based on State of Global Islamic Economy report in 2020. Next slide, okay. In terms of global fashion, we are facing several key issues that may become opportunities and challenges. These issues are product, services, customer-oriented ecosystem, financing, policies, regulation, and operation. Some of these issues also occur in Indonesia, and we need to come together in building a strong commitment, the size, the opportunities, and face the challenge, so that we country may be the center of world modest fashion in the world. Next slide, okay, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned earlier, that Indonesia has several key issues in development modest fashion industry. In terms of opportunities, we can address several aspects that may achieve in development of the industry. These aspects are development of Muslim communities, international recognition on our fashion brands, utilization of technologies, both commerce and media, utilization of ethnic fabrics and product design, development of style hijab trend, cooperation with halal travel industry and halal cosmetic product, abundance in raw materials, government support, and also the growth of Muslim population. By engaging of this aspect, we can develop of modest fashion industry so it may contribute in global market and in fashion product. Next slide, okay. Furthermore, on the opportunities that we have parallel by several challenges and the needs to be faced in development modest fashion. We still have some issues in initiation product or plagiarism, competition with international brand, and cheap important product. Interconnection between a designer and manufacturer with national branding, interconnection between the upstream and downstream industry, lacking of access in export market and financing, and efficiency of business incubator that focusing of modest fashion. We need to address that issue properly so that our step in development Indonesian modest fashion industry may generate benefit impacts. Okay, next slide. Okay, if the development Indonesian modest fashion industry in full several stakeholders which are government, industry or business, society or community, and expert the government plays for generating policy and regulation, imposing innovation, supporting, facilitating, and financing. And the industry acts as a project development and productivity, with the community acts as collaboration, linking competence and providing consumer perspective. The experts include academic, intellectual, and designer that take part in research and development, capacity building, innovation, and business incubator. Together, the stakeholder may help the development of Indonesian modest fashion industry through collaborative action. Okay, next slide. Moreover, when we discuss about industry, it always incorporates with value chain. In Indonesia modest fashion industry, the value chain consists of raw material supplies, designer, value-added manufacturer, retailers, and consumer. For each part of the value chain, there are different roles and support as we can see in the slide. The support intends to help each part in the value chain to become more capability and give better outputs in the development and the modest fashion industry. Okay, next slide, ladies and gentlemen. For the development strategy in Indonesia modest fashion industry, we employ an integrated development that in place of upstream, production, branding, and market sector. In upstream sector, we propose availability for raw material, link and match between industry, optimization of local material, and industrial mapping. In production sector, we propose standardization, technologies, investment, and competence, modest fashion competition, business incubator, and machinery restructurization. In branding sector, we purpose national branding and protection in intellectual property rights, while in market sector, we propose market access, investment, exhibition, fashion show, and online market penetration. All of those combined with stakeholder collaboration to become a valuable action plan. That's good. Next slide, okay. The Ministry of Industry, through the Directorate General of Small and Medium and Multivarious Industry, has several development programs. The Design for Modest Fashion Industry. Our program are small and medium center, integrated industrial service center, promoting entrepreneurs, machinery, facilitation and restructurization, technical training, capacity building, business incubator, workshop of e-smart IKM, exhibition, fashion show, access to promotion, and lastly, fashion competition. We initiate the program through collaboration with other stakeholders in order to promote our modest fashion small and medium industry to become more resilient and ready to compete in the market. One of these program that we want to the highlights, the name the program is Modest Fashion Project. Next slide. Modest Fashion Project is a platform to self-development and product showcase to create design with Muslim fashion entrepreneur with prominent competitiveness and the promotes young and talented Indonesian fashion designer to become the part of Muslim fashion development. We collaborate with fashion business experts to build a 2-year coaching program that encourage the fashion designer to contribute in Muslim fashion business in Indonesia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, all in all, that is my presentation about modest fashion industry and the development program to support the industry. Thank you for your attention, and we hope that this conference may give insight for all of us, especially for the development of Indonesia modest fashion industry. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ibu Ratna, you have a very good time management. You have 1 minute more. I give you. Thank you, Ibu. And now we are
You're welcome.
Yeah. And now we are moving to the next speakers. There is founder and designer of Albana New York. For that, please welcome Liali Albana.
Can you hear me?
Oh, cannot. Yes, Sister Liali. Assalamualaikum, sister. Wow, you look beautiful, and look at look at your screen. You have a lot of clothes there, so you can start now. We pin the screen for you.
Okay. So, firstly, I'd like to thank you for having me as a part of this historic and really groundbreaking World Conference. It's about time that we really did something about modest fashion. I think it's something that, you know, we've all struggled with. I've certainly struggled with ever since I was a young girl. I started wearing hijab when I was 12 years old. I grew up in New Jersey, and you know, I've always wanted to dress conservatively, and it's something that's been extremely difficult to do here with no access to modest clothing whatsoever. And, you know, as I got older and as I noticed that this is something that the community is dealing with, a lot of my friends and family are also struggling to find appropriate clothing. We, you know, would shop overseas sometimes, or, you know, buy things online, and, you know, there would be sizing issues, and you know, the styles wouldn't exactly be what we were looking for, you know, as Muslims growing up in America. And so when, like I said, as I got older, I realized that something has to be done. We can't just sit here and wait for the fashion world to recognize our needs and to cater for us. In 2017, I decided to take classes at the Fashion Institute in New York. And a couple of years later, I founded Albana New York, which is a lifestyle brand that unites modesty and modernity in custom tailored, made-to-order designs that are really a tribute to English luxury and American elegance. It's the first brand that's made in the USA for modest wearing women exclusively. There are other brands that have jumped on the wagon in recent years that have started adding modest pieces here and there, but to have a brand that's exclusively modest wear, founded by a woman, it really was a first, and it came about to help women in my community, help my sisters, find options to wear that covered what needed to be covered, but still looked elegant and nice. And so what I found when I launched my online store, and, I tried to have it in Western designs and iconic prints, and I would use the houndstooth or the tartan plaid. And, again, I expected to see the sales coming in from Arab names or Muslim names, to see them coming in from my community and friends. And I did see that. I saw a lot of that. But what really surprised me, what took me by surprise, was to see a lot of mainstream Americans come to my store and shop at my store, and grow to be about 80% or more of my customers. And that to me was very humbling. It was very surprising. And I felt like, goal achieved. I was really wanting a modest brand for Muslim women to feel at home in America. And so to have the approval of the Americans and have them purchase the clothing and wear the clothing really cemented the fact that this would be a brand for American women, by an American woman, and to make modesty American and not an outside notion, not, an immigrant or Muslim idea only, but no, you can be American and modest as well. Just to see the comments that people were leaving on my Instagram and my Facebook, and the reviews I was getting was just, really, really encouraging, and has really helped me navigate through the challenges. As you all know, we've had to face through the pandemic. It has not been easy. It's been extremely difficult to, manage the supply chain and to, get a lot of operations done post COVID. What I really want to get out there, I think my message to women and to my daughters is that I want them to feel empowered to create their own fashion sense. I don't want them to go through the challenges that I faced growing up Muslim in the West. I want them to have better options. I want them to feel at home and to be able to dress conservatively and to be able to, be Muslim and be American at the same time, to be modest and be chic and elegant and trendy at the same time. And, that's really, that was my goal that I set out. And I hope, inshallah, that I can, continue to serve the community and continue to provide designs, that will inspire future generations to cover up and be modest. And, I feel that what we wear and fashion is really an extension of who we are as individuals. And people really care about, how they express themselves. And they don't want the first impression they make to be, oh, here's a foreigner, here's, a Muslim. We're proud of being Muslim and we want to be recognized as Muslim, but at the same time, we want to be seen as intellectuals and as professionals in the workplace, we want to be seen just like everybody else and not to be necessarily labeled or marginalized because of the hijab. I feel that also as Muslims, we kind of have a bigger responsibility as brands, as retailers, to continue to consciously make this world a better place. We need to be eco-conscious. We need to focus on sustainability. We need to be at the forefront in the fashion world, and not just the modest fashion world. I think the fashion industry in general, we need to be there at the forefront, spreading the word about saving the environment and about employee rights and not using slave labor or sweatshops. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. And when I founded my brand, I was very sure to make it a made in New York brand so that our employees are here in New York. They're getting paid wages that are commensurate with their experience. And, we avoid offshoring our manufacturing. Everything is here in the US. Our supplies, our fabrics we get from Europe and other places where we're sure where the manufacturing is being done and where there's humane practices in the factories. So that's something, again, that we've been trying to educate consumers about, trying to work, within the industry to make sure people know that there's a cost to fast fashion. When you save a couple of dollars here and there, you're hurting the environment and you are really cheating people off of money that they deserve otherwise. So that, that's really in a nutshell what I believe in and what my brand's about. I wear my own designs. I personally feel attached to every fabric that I use, every print that I use. And if it's not something I would wear, I don't put it out there. And I also focus on the types of fabric that we use to make sure that it's flattering to all different body types. We choose silhouettes that help the shape of women so that, there's no bulge and there's no things showing that shouldn't be showing. And, people can just feel very confident. There's not going to be any shifting or, anything that they don't want going on with their clothes. They put it on, it's maintenance free, they're comfortable all day long. And they feel very empowered when they don't have to worry about their clothes. So that's basically what I have. I do have a slideshow. I don't know if I have time to present or not.
Actually, we are very enjoying what you just present us. We believe that in America, Islamic phobia will follow your efforts in introducing the modest fashion. We thank you, sister, for your share for today's conference, World Conference. Thank you. The third speakers will be Asia Muhammad, designer of Luella by Ibtihaj, the first American athlete to win an Olympic medal in hijab. Assalamualaikum, sister. You are still mute, sister.
Oh, sorry about that. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. What time is it now there?
It's 4:32 in the morning right now.
Wow, you should be still asleep. Thank you for being with us here.
Amazing event if I was still asleep right now.
We miss you to be here together with us. So,
Yes.
sister, please, the screen will be pinned for you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to just start off with thanking everyone who put together this remarkable, powerful event. It's been such an honor listening to everyone, and it's my honor to represent Luella by Ibtihaj as a fashion brand here in the U.S. My name is Asia Mohammed. I am co-owner and one of the designers for Luella by Ibtihaj, a modest fashion brand here in the U.S. I am the sister of Ibtihaj Mohammed, who I think many of you know was the first American athlete to win an Olympic medal in hijab. Ibtihaj has undoubtedly pioneered modesty within the athletic space, and it was important for her after her Olympic run to continue to defy stereotypes and to push, modest fashion here in the U.S. And Luella as a brand, Luella by Ibtihaj, we endeavor to deliver a fresh, vibrant, and affordable take on modest women's fashion. For our consumers, modesty is not just a trend, it is a way of life. We manufacture here in the U.S., both on the East Coast and on the West Coast. So for us, it's not just about filling a void within the fashion industry. It is about changing our communities as well. So in our effort to continue to globalize modest fashion, I think it's important for myself as a designer and as an entrepreneur to maintain my goals. And what inspires me and what inspires Luella as a fashion brand to continue to create modest fashion. It's something that we wholeheartedly believe in. Myself and my sisters, we understand what it feels like to be underrepresented in the retail market here in the U.S. It's important for us to continue to provide clothing for those who choose to wear modest clothing. I believe, again, in our effort to continue to globalize modest fashion and to push this modest movement here in the U.S., I think that it's important to maintain a common goal. And in my opinion, that common goal being to create a community that celebrates like-minded women who are interested in modest fashion. We want to engage and foster a safe place for women to connect and to celebrate beauty of all shapes and sizes. So with that, I think here in the U.S., we're still lagging, for many reasons and in many ways when it comes to modest fashion. But I think we can take cues from Indonesia, Malaysia, even, the Middle East countries who have all implemented modest fashion into their culture. I think that it's important for designers, entrepreneurs here in the U.S. to, continue to push this movement, to continue to defy stereotypes and to overcome boundaries. And I think ultimately, our goal as a fashion brand here in the U.S., obviously, domestically, we want to normalize modest wear, modest fashion here in the U.S. And I think in doing that, because the U.S., we're such large consumers, we make up, a very large percentage of the consumers globally. In doing so, in normalizing modest fashion here, I think that will also drive in globalizing modest fashion. Again, I think, we all have a common goal, and that's to create this community for women, for women who choose to dress modestly. I think that should be the common goal. And with that, I think, the movement, it's more than just a movement, modest fashion, but I think, with that, we can continue to normalize modest fashion.
That's your sharing with us. So, how to say it? We are very happy that we have a lot of sisters there that want to share us here in Indonesia. Hopefully, you can further explore your your business here in Indonesia, sister.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. That is, our one of our goals to expand globally. I've never been to Indonesia. I'm super excited to go one day, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah you will.
Inshallah.
And next, I would like to invite the speakers, Nur Fahrin Asfi, the co-founder of the Smart Tailor Manufacture and a board member of Business Chamber of Commerce in Dubai, Malaysia, and New Zealand. Yeah, sister, please. Time is yours.
Okay, first of all, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat tengah hari kepada warga-warga Indonesia. Good morning to America and it's night time here. I am currently physically in New Zealand, so it is night time here. But this is also showing us that we can globalize this local fashion industry.
Exactly.
You can still have your fashion world conference going on throughout the whole world. So this is a very good example. Well, I would like to start my opening speech with, first of all, thank you, Ms. Tetra, for being an awesome moderator.
Thank you, sister.
Your Excellency, Dr. Sandiaga Salahuddin Uno, Ibu Nur Asia Uno, selamat hari jadi. Heard it from Nur Sham today. Founding guru of Modest Fashion Week globally. I am very honored to be among all these experts here today. And of course, working team of Modest Fashion World Conference. I know you've been working very hard to put on this. So I really appreciate the invitation for today. Well, since we've been given about 10 minutes, I need to wrap up within 10 minutes. Let me just do an introduction about myself, like what was mentioned by Ms. Tetra. I am an entrepreneur by heart, but a background of engineering. I started this, the Smart, it's a business based in Dubai. It's called the Smart Tailor. It actually started because there was a need of alteration around that area. Our business is only about 5 minutes away from Burj Khalifa, and there were a lot of need there because you have all these like so-called like a Wall Street people around it, so they were looking for it. So being a business person, obviously we set that up to do alterations. But slowly from alteration, we saw that a lot of people started coming to our business to ask us to do fashion. And after 2 years, 3 years, we were and still we are heavily involved with the Arab Fashion Week, especially because now we are supporting a lot of local fashion designers. So this is how myself, got started and we got involved in this fashion world. And it's very interesting, and we see a lot of opportunities. And I'm actually very excited to hear about Indonesia because Indonesia is, as we are aware, is the largest Muslim country in the world. You have about 267 million population, 90% are Muslim. But when we talk about Modest, it's not just about Muslim, it's about the world. Like what was mentioned by Ms. Muhammad, modesty is not a trend, it's a lifestyle. So this is what we are focusing on. Now, when we started the Smart Tailor, we are very heavily involved with a lot of ladies. Again, like what was mentioned by Ms. Tetra, right? You mentioned about Muslim women are the primary users in this industry. So we got very excited, we got very busy dealing with a lot of fashion designers, and a lot of them are starting to go towards Modest. As you are aware, like Dubai is like a hub of the world right now. The whole world is in Dubai. You have a lot of designers, business people, fashion enthusiasts from Russia, from China, from Malaysia, from Indonesia. And we see it's growing. And by 2024, the halal industry is going to reach, I think, about 400 billion. This is according to Dinar Standard and Thomson Reuters. So when the whole world sees that the trend is growing, obviously everybody wants to tap into it. And one of the industries is fashion. So we are lucky in that sense that we managed to penetrate into this modest fashion industry among the ladies. So while doing it, we were thinking, we said, look, instead of focusing on this only, why not we focus on the men as well? You know, how do we make the men modest? I mean, the men are modest in general, but how do we make them not just modest wearing clothes, you know, but also modest in their mindset? How do we spread this modesty through our fashion towards men? So if you can see, I purposely changed my background to, there's a lot of people, they are actually influential people who are wearing positive messages. And the business that I co-founded, the Smart Tailor, we are the one that's behind the brand. And we partner up with a #1 top social media influencer from Bahrain. His name is Omar Farouk, because he is very influential in spreading positive messages. So to us, we've got the women covered. So now we want to tackle on the men population. And, you know, in order for us to convey the message, we need to make it fun. We need to make it exciting. And we need to target especially the next generation, because it's the next generation that's going to take over the world. So Omar Farouk, he's one of, I don't know which side, left or right. Oh yeah, that's him, by the way.
Yeah, we saw it.
Oh, you saw it. Perfect. I can only see my screen, by the way. So Omar Farouk, with us, he's our partner, where we produce, we manufacture a lot of tops, streetwear, to tackle on men and women who like to be funky, who like to dress up funky, you know. And Alhamdulillah, within 2 years, the business pick up. And I mentioned this before COVID, obviously, because we actually manufacture them, you know, in India. We manufacture them in Thailand. We tried to go to Indonesia, but there was a little bit of hiccups there, where it's interesting now that we can work towards Indonesia, because we would like to have Indonesian designers to come in and work with us. And because of the influential that our partner Omar Farouk has, we managed to, you know, to reach 136 countries. You know, we have salam. It's very basic. Salam. To us, we understand what salam means. But to a lot of non-Muslim, they would stop you and they will ask you, what is salam? You know? So you tell them salam is like, you know, you give blessing. I mean, like, you know, good words. We have hulum, where you dream. So these are another type of modest industry that we are penetrating. And we are using a social media influencer. So with Omar and the brand, obviously a lot of top people. We have celebrities, we've got actors from the Netflix wearing it. We had a CEO of YouTube who wore it, and it creates a lot of awareness. So because of that, we've noticed that as a business person, we've noticed that this is a very powerful way of penetrating the modest fashion industry. You know, it's a streetwear industry. Now, all these good things happened before COVID. So right now, what is the challenge that we're facing? The challenge is obviously the whole world is facing a supply chain interruption. Prices increase because now the whole world needs to send a lot of items around the world, right? So one way to overcome this that we came up with is we partner up with local business manufacturer. So let's say, for example, we want Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a very big industry there. We set up a small fulfillment supply chain manufacturer there for them to produce it locally, to supply it locally. So this is how we overcome the challenge that we had. And it's not as good as before, but you know, with the world moving forward and people are starting to understand what modest means, and the fashion industry is booming, and with a lot of things going on. And another point that I just want to raise here is with a collaboration, bilateral trade collaboration between United Arab Emirates and Indonesia, that is, you know, United Arab Emirates is injecting a lot of billions of dollars into Indonesian industry. We see a lot of opportunities for Indonesian designers to work and partner up with international people. You know, so that is something that we are very excited about. And I personally foresee that there's a huge opportunity in Indonesia. And obviously, Indonesia is very unique, like Malaysia, but Indonesia is bigger, more influential. And in fact, the biggest Sharia bank of Indonesia has already set up their first branch overseas in Dubai. So there's a lot more awareness about Indonesia, about modest, about fashion. So when you combine all that, it's an advantage. And we look forward to work, you know, with local designers internationally. So I think this is how I look at how do you globalize the local fashion industry. And with that, I think I've already finished off my 10 minutes.
Yes, because
etc.
Yes,
Perfect.
exactly. Because you are coming from the country who launched the State of Global Islamic Economic Report. So,
Yes. So thank you
the
so much.
compass is
And,
coming from your
again,
country. So I'm waiting for your speech, for your.
all right. Inshallah.
Inshallah. And next
Thank
we
you,
have,
Mr. Trump.
Yeah, you are welcome. Now we have here Bapak Basri Kamba. He is the director of Asia Pacific Rayon. Bapak Basri.
So thank you so much again.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum to everyone.
Waalaikumsalam
Good
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
afternoon and very good morning to those living at the other continent. So after four ladies, here we go. A man is talking now about a very good topic about modest fashion businesses. So can you share my slide, please? Okay, so my name is Basri Kamba. I am representing Asia Pacific Rayon, one of the 4 viscose manufacturer in Indonesia, but we are very relatively new, just about 3 years old. But then again, if we talk about, this is again me talking from the textile industry perspective, right? So talking about Indonesia, and then talking about modest fashion from Indonesia, number one, this industry has been 40 to 50 years old already, right? And then we have a lot of spinners. As everyone said earlier, that Indonesia is a big market. It's a huge one. And then this industry involves almost 4 to 5 million people, including myself. And then we have a lot of designers. And then again, new brands are mushrooming already. So the question is why Indonesia cannot go global, right? That's the questions. So I think Ibu Nur Asia Uno already mentions, let's do a tangible actions. Okay, so go to the first slide, please. I think we all know then if you talk about the fashion industry at the moment, the world is already shifting, right? So they are talking about where we dump our clothes. So 85% is going to the landfill, to go to the incinerator. And then the consumers' behavior almost in every part of the world is changing now. They're talking about sustainable denim, they're talking about sustainable modest fashions, and so on. Next slide. So again, I think if I can offer one solution, it's not easy though. That's how we can together create an ecosystem, right? So it involves the industry, the raw materials, right? Like us, the Asia Pacific Rayon, we manufacture, we produce the viscose fiber. And then we also need some brand design, some brand and fashion designs. And of course, we need the government as the regulatory. And then those from the school, from the education institute. So this ecosystem will help, because Indonesia, I think about last month, has already announced by our president that Indonesia wants to be the modest fashion hub by 2024. This is everyone's challenge. How could we reach there, right? Sustainably. Next slide. So from the industry perspective, we should look also about the materials, the sourcing, who make our clothes, right? If you look at the type of fiber that we need to make one single pair of denim, for example, of course, it starts from the fiber. So if you look globally, the fiber production is dominant with polyester, right? And then comes the cotton, and then rayon is one of it. So, but then when we talk about sustainable fashions and in the modest fashion industry, it's the same. If you trace back what kind of materials that are used, is it biodegradable? Is it renewable? So let's go to the next slide. So if you talk about modest fashions in general, right? So one of the materials that is really suit with the really fits with the modest fashion is viscose, and of course some others like silk, cotton, and so on. But then viscose is more very close to meet the needs, the requirements for the modest fashion. It's drapey, it's colorful, it's bright, and it's actually available in the market. But what makes some viscose different from others? Next slide. So I think one or two speakers in this session mentions about what can Indonesia do with all the materials they have. So our viscose is almost 100% produced here in Indonesia. Our location is in Riau, about 1 hour flight to Singapore. So it's coming from plantations and then goes to the wood chip, goes to the dissolving pulp, and then up to the fiber. So that is our business. Then from them, it then purchased by our customers and become yarn and become fabric and then become fashion. So that's why we call it Everything Indonesia, from renewable plantations to fashions. The next slide. I think everyone in these sessions understand understand the application of viscose. There are a lot. So you can just for fabric, for fashions, but also for baby clothes, for towels, and so on. And it's natural, it's renewable, right? Because it's coming from plantations, and it's of course biodegradable. And again, for the modest fashion, it's quite comfortable. Next slide. So a very brief about my company, Asia Pacific Rayon. So it's actually located again in Sumatra, and then the market is big for Indonesia. So at the moment, we have 240,000 capacity. 240,000 capacity. By 2023, we are going to expand by 600,000. So viscose is more available for Indonesia modest fashions. And then it's not only for modest fashions. When we talk about sustainable fashions, it really meets the criteria. The next slide. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, that APR is only starting in end of 2018. So earlier last year, it's inaugurated by our president, President Jokowi, just to show his support for the textile industry, including for the modest fashion. Next one. Again, this is a challenge for us, right? We are in the very upstream industry, right? Before, from the fiber, become yarn and fabric. But it doesn't mean that a company like us should not support the other fashion industry. So from the very beginning, we support a number of fashions, a number of seminars, including this Muslim Fashions Festival every single year, right? So this is just an example where we support a lot of modest fashions fashion show.
Pak
Next.
Basri, I apologize for that the Vice Minister will join us, so I have to very strict. You can.
Correct. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I have 2 more slides, right? So next slide. So this is the certifications for our for the market. We have this product certification. We have the process certification. Also, we have the forestry certification. This really match with the needs of the global industry later on. The next slide. So before my last slide, this is about the traceability. Every single bale of our viscose is traceable. So using our follow fiber, so it traced down from which plantation, from which nursery, from which factory up to the mills. The next one is also this Jakarta Fashion Hub. It's a collaborative hub to support everyone. And my next slide is about my recommendation, just to echo. My next slide, please. Hello, my next slide.
Next.
This is my echo to echo what Ibu Nur mentioned earlier, that to take tangible action from this seminar. One, collaborations, and then create workable, tangible business ecosystems, and then we should do it now. So I offer any collaborations from any speaker, for any participants in this conference to collaborate with us. Thank you so much. Thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Bapak Basri Kamba. Thank you for introducing us the fiber viscose. Yeah. And next we are moving to the next speaker, Dr. Ahmad Saleh Kusnowibowo, Honorable Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia, Council for Economic Affairs, Uni Emirat Arab. Assalamualaikum Bapak. Ya.
Waalaikumsalam, Ibu Moderator.
Iya Bapak, 7 menit ya Pak, karena Ibu Wamen udah mau bergabung bersama kita.
Oh baik, terima kasih Bu Moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for the organizer who organized this event. I would like to congratulate for the successful of this event. Mainly to Mrs. Jenny Chayawati, Ibu Jenny, who has worked hard to organize to make this event possible. So I have actually already prepared a small, short presentation to show with some small data showing about the trend and prospect of the modest fashion. But in short, because maybe it's still in the process for uploading the PowerPoint presentation, let me give some short of information on that. Yeah, first of all, this is a good time for us, for Indonesia, mainly because Indonesia is declared to be the business hub for the modest fashion in the world. So as mentioned also by President of Indonesia, President Joko Widodo mentioned before that Indonesia want to be the top country in modest fashion, Muslim fashion week, to be the hub of the Muslim fashion industry. Yeah, talking about the Muslim fashion industry, of course, this is a good opportunity because Indonesia is the largest Muslim country. So Indonesian modest fashion designers can work together with other designers from all over the world. Only in this year.
Bapak, we cannot hear you.
United Arab Emirates. Excuse me. You cannot hear, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now.
Yeah. So I will start again. Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I will thank you very much for the organizer to organize this event. I really appreciate this event. It's very good and very momentum event in this 2021 during the pandemic. Thank you for the moderator for moderating this event. Also would like to thank you very much for Mrs. Jenny Chahyawati, who already prepared this event tirelessly to make this event possible. Talking about modest fashion trend and prospect, I will give some sort of data information regarding the prospect of Indonesia modest fashion. Next slide, please. Yeah, we're talking about Indonesia because Indonesia is a member of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. So I will give some short of trade of OIC members figures. We're talking about Indonesian export to OIC countries. Actually, we have very small contribution. Our export to OIC member countries only 1.27%. Very, very small. It's not showing the potential of Indonesian economy. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates has shown an ability almost similar like Indonesia. United Arab Emirates also has performed well with the contribution to OIC member.
So Bapak Sim, there's connection problem with us. So can we just move? Bapak apologize, we cannot hear you. We have a trouble.
What happened?
Okay, just your voice just.
What happened?
Just go. Okay, just continue, Bapak. Maybe you can close your camera. Hello?
Yes, hello. I already opened my camera.
No, just
close my camera.
No, it is okay now, Bapak. Please.
Okay, I repeat again.
Non-oil
so you're talking about Indonesia non-oil and gas export. So this one, the figure showing the Indonesian capacity in developing the export. Our export to Middle East markets for halal products only 7.15%. So our capacity is very low. Our productivity shows very little. So we have to increase. But in the meantime, our products, in terms of all products, halal products contributing for 69%, and then textile and garment 21%, and then for cosmetic and perfumes only 9%. So we have a lot of opportunity to increase the textile industry through the to increase and enlarge more opportunities, not only in Asia market, but mostly in the Middle East. Yes, next slide, please. Yeah, we're talking about the prospect of halal product. I will categorize with two categories of fashion and cosmetic. There's a trend. When we look at in 2019, the total export of halal products around $277 billion US. So what about for 2024? The expected for 2024 is 311 billion. So there is huge numbers of prospect of fashion industry. So this is the good time, and so Indonesia should prepare for this. So because Indonesia has a lot of designers, Muslim fashion designers, this is a good opportunity to Indonesia to increase and enlarge the capacity to produce Muslim fashion products. So talking about cosmetic, if we saw in 2019 the capacity prospect is 66 billion US dollar. How about for 2024? In 2024, the consumption of cosmetic will be around 76 billion US dollar. So there is the big numbers showing the prospect for halal product in terms of fashion and cosmetic. So there is a good opportunity for Indonesia to expand the market into Middle East, like in United Arab Emirates, where they have the good, gross domestic products more than 40,000 US dollars. So this is a good chance for Indonesia to exploring the market in the United Arab Emirates. So I'm sure that all the Indonesian designer, the Indonesian modest fashion stakeholders, the designers, the manufacturers can produce and give big contribution for the development of an export halal product in industry in Middle East, mostly in United Arab Emirates. So this is a good time for Indonesia. Let's start to show that your capacity, your ability to improve the design, to improve the capacity, to increase the market and expand the new potential market in Middle East, in United Arab Emirates, and also other countries like in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, Kuwait, etc. So this is the time where Indonesia should show the talents, the capacity, the strongness in Muslim fashion design to show that Indonesia can capture the market, can work together also with other stakeholders from other parts of the world. So we can increase the capacity of Indonesia.
Of course, Bapak.
So
Thank
I'm
you,
sure that this is the time for Indonesia. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank
thank
you for
you,
the time.
Pak
So,
Bapak.
thank you so much.
Thank you. And next we are moving to the last speakers. Ibu Devi, please take your time. Ibu Deva Rahman is the Vice President of Indonesia Qatar Business Council. Please, Ibu.
Thank you very much, Mutia. Assalamualaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for having me in this very important and monumental World Conference when we discuss about the modest fashions in Indonesia, given that Indonesia is the largest Muslim country and we have an excellent speakers, and also we have declarations are very important for Indonesia and all the countries that we will work together. So my today's presentations is about modest fashion industry beyond pandemic and what's next. My name is Deva Rahman. I'm from Indonesia Qatar Kuwait Business Council, and it's really pleasure for me to be here. Next slide. Yeah, just a little bit about our organizations is Indonesia Qatar Kuwait Business Council is a non-profit organizations. We are a trade and business associations, and we also empower small and medium enterprises to join to both countries. So basically, we expand the market of Indonesians producers to both countries. Currently, the sales or export of Indonesia to Qatar is only $210 million US, so it's per year by 2020. So it's very, very small, and we think that it's very good for Indonesia to expand for our trade to the country. We've given a lot of investment, also commitment opportunity from Qatar and Kuwait to Indonesia, and we would like to have a vice versa, which is bring more business and small medium enterprises to both countries, which is, I believe that modest fashions also have a lot of opportunity in the future. So we bring a trade shows, business delegations visits to both countries, vice versa to Indonesia, and also we bring also a business matching and investment for both countries. Next slides, please. So I would like to adding more facts about what we have discussed today, that COVID is really disrupted fashion industry, especially the modest industry. So in 2019 and 2020, the sales dropped by 80%. Even McKinsey said that 90% is being dropped. Offline retails are closed, and 40% goes to digital, and it's continued to grow. And the casual style apparently is the winner of the current style right now, because people right now are working from home. They're not working from the office, and also we don't have a lot of fashions events for the past 2 years because of the pandemic. So we would like to bring this as a state of mind about what are we going to do the next after the pandemic COVID-19. Next slide, please. So, so what's next and how to navigate this? So basically, the COVID-19's really changed people's lifestyle right now, and also the modest fashion lifestyle right now. And we are seeing that the hybrid working mode, now we have an event in this building. We have a webinar, but also we have an offline. So hybrid working model or events going to more flourish in the futures. And we also have people are typically going to be working from home, and that's changed how the fashion industry in the future. Sorry Mas, saya boleh minta screen yang ini karena saya nggak bisa ngelihat screen yang sana.
Mau berdiri boleh Bu atau
ya,
mau
nggak apa-apa,
tukeran?
Oke. Ya, boleh minta?
Tuker aja.
Oke.
Kita mau berdiri. Oh masih terlalu ini. Bisa di switch Mas kameranya? Oke.
Maaf tadi saya sudah minta untuk di switch. Bisa di switch? Oke. Apologize, I don't have a really good eyes this afternoon, maybe because of the lights. Sama nggak jelas. Bisa? Iya, kayaknya lama.
Lebih baik berdiri Ibu, nggak apa-apa, kamera masih bisa.
Oke.
Catch.
Yeah.
Oke,
thank you.
Nggak ada.
Terima kasih.
Bentar.
So what's next for the fashion industry is basically, to some extent, that luxury style right now in a hold for a moment. That's why I think that the modest fashions is really have a big opportunity in the futures. And people right now is more focused on sustainability and responsible supply chains that really the modest fashions really needs to look at, and is actually in line with the Muslim or Islamic value that we really need to be cautious about the sustainability and how we deal with the environment. Next slide. Yeah. So fashion industry right now is really moving to environmental sustainability. You see as a picture on the right side is actually a pile of clothes, used clothes, jadi baju bekas, used clothes that is not being sold, and it's been sent to Chile, a country called Chile, and it's just like become a close of graveyard, jadi kuburan untuk baju-baju yang tidak terjual. Baju yang tidak terjual, bukan baju bekas pakai, ini adalah baju yang tidak terjual. It was in stores, it's already been produced and it's never been sold because again it's a pandemic, and then the power of people to buy clothes is very, very low. But in the meantime, also the fast moving industry of clothing is really affecting the environment. So COVID-19 really encouraged fashion industry to be more sustainable and at the same time to be able to behave ethically and reduce inequality apart of the workers. So again, this is very in line with the Muslim or modest fashions, and the trends emerged during the pandemic is expected to persist and increase to have making clothes and making their own mix and match. So buying to leasing, selling from garment to subscription, and promoting clothes and repair and regenerations. Next slide. So what we can do, this is the silver lining. So the fashion industry during the pandemic is actually being hibernate, but many fashion companies also have taken their time during this crisis and to reshape their business strategy. So how to model their business strategy and how to gain more traction in the digital and how to gain more sales powering or connecting with the local customers and bring more local to local kind of selling point. It's become a trend right now. That's the focus on the local customer and connect with the diaspora. Actually, the Muslim industry as the Muslim society, we can call it as a diaspora as well. Although we're a different nationality, but it's actually we are a diaspora as well. We have in Dubai, we have in Malaysia, we have in Australia or in French and Morocco. Is actually a Muslim diaspora. It doesn't mean that we need to be in a one nationality, and that's why the Surah of Al-Hujurat saying that Allah said that we've been created nation to nations to be able to recognize and know between each other, but we as a modest are Muslims. And right now the trend is actually the slow fashions. It's not fast fashions that I explained it before. Next slide. So the future is actually in Asia. Asia right now, based on a study done by a lot of organizations, including McKinsey, say that Asia is so important in fashion right now because many of the successful brands, they are focusing on Asia Pacific focus, reflecting the economic strength of the regions, and the pandemic in the regions right now has a lower impact on the pandemic. Right now, Indonesia is in the level 1, basically. All the nations really applaud of Indonesia performance in dealing with the pandemic. And also Asia have offered a compelling digital propositions, which is Indonesia is the 4th biggest nation of digital. Next slide. So actually this is my last slide. So there are 3 recommendations for the fashions, Ibu Jenny, and also for all your network and all over the world. There are 3 type of topics that we need to put in mind that actually about the global economy. We need to not living with the virus, but really how to work this out and living with the new normal. And we know that the demand is decreasing, but how to navigate between the rain and how to still producing and still create a creative of product, but at the same time we create a sales. On the consumer shift is a digital sprint. So we really need to do this kind of things more. From other speakers, we know that's all in YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I really would like to see that from the Modest Fashion Al Muslim to have creating a special platform for the modest industry or modest fashions as well. Seeking justice right now, the consumers is now more conscious on how we treat our employees and environment. So as we treat our employees and environment better, then the customers will choose the products. And the travel is being interrupted, we know, and the fashion systems, less is more. So we tend to moving to slow fashions and deeper partnership, to have more partnership with like Qatar, Kuwait, or other OIC countries. And also we need to revelations our work by doing more webinar or hybrid event in the future so that we can navigate this. And once we go back to the normal life, we will have started our work more deeper with a lot of hibernations and thinking about new strategies in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Deva. That's the end of our second session. And if I can conclude that, give a big applause for all of us here. I cannot further discuss since our time is very tired. So yeah, I can conclude we have benefit the information and the insight to grow together for the new lifestyle on clothing fashion industry. That is modest fashion. That's all from me, and let's go networking for growing together. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Tetra, for the excellent moderating and speakers for their wonderful insights. We do have to acknowledge that COVID has affected the purchase power of consumers, hard hit for the fashion industry as well. That is why the modest fashion has to manage the challenges, adapting to changes, making strategies in developing modest fashion globally. Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost to the end of this event. Later on, we will have another virtual fashion show. Before that, I would like to welcome Her Excellency, Mrs. Angela Tanu Sudibyo, Vice Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia. We are preparing for the podium for Mrs. Angela Tanu Sudibyo to give her closing speech for the World Modest Fashion Conference. Before we call Mrs. Angela Tanu Sudibyo, before that we would like to present a video for all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our video. welcome Her Excellency Mrs. Angela Tanu Sudibyo as Vice Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of Indonesia. Welcome, Ms. Angela. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude our series of events on this occasion, we would like to invite Mrs. Angela Tanu Sudibyo as Vice Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia to deliver her closing note. We would like to welcome Mrs. Angela to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Excellencies, Mr. Wisnu Bawa Tarunajaya, Deputy of Resources and Institutions, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Mr. Iman Santosa, Director of Interinstitutional Relations, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Mrs. Ratna Utari Ningrum, Director of Multivarious Industry and Small Medium Industries of Chemistry, Clothing and Crafts, Ministry of Industry, Mrs. Jenny Cahyawati, Founder and Chairman of Indonesia Modest Fashion Week, Ambassador spouses, founders of Modest Fashion from the United States, Australia, Russia, United Emirates, Arab, France, and Morocco, all panelists and participants, all of whom made today's event possible. First of all, on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, I would like to thank Indonesia Modest Fashion Week for their collaboration in organizing the Modest Fashion Week World Conference, as well as the establishment of the Global Modest Fashion Association with Mrs. Nur Asia Uno as the founding ambassador. It is such a timely event as we are riding on the momentum of the year 2021 as the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development. Distinguished participants, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed our way of life and doing business. It has accelerated the digital transformation worldwide. In Indonesia, we've seen tremendous growth in internet traffic usage, up to 40% during the pandemic. In early 2021, we have recorded more than 202 million internet users, an increase of 15.5% in just 1 year. So it means internet penetration in Indonesia today is more than 73%. As we advance, the main challenge of the creative industry, including the modest fashion industry, is adapting to technology, from the suitable business models and organizations to the human capital. We have to be able to adapt to digitization to the core. It's not only about selling things online, but also analyze big data to predict trends and make our production more efficient. We also need to equip our human resources with new capabilities to maximize the use of technology. Secondly, the issue of sustainability is also a big part of the change in consumer trends. Nielsen study shows 73% of millennials are willing to pay more for ethical and sustainable products. With the young population increasingly concerned about social, environmental, and cultural preservation issues, we need to answer these challenges with innovation. For example, we can use environmentally friendly materials, incorporate local wisdom and culture into our design, and implement a business practice inclusive of youth, women, and the disabled. Distinguished participants, in Indonesia, the fashion industry, through modest fashion, has a big part in the creative economy recovery strategy for two reasons. One, Indonesia is the largest Muslim country, which means we have a large base of modest fashion consumers. And two, the fashion industry is the second largest GDP contributor in the creative economy sector. Therefore, we need to see the challenges we face today not as problems, but as opportunities. The Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy will continue to support the digital transformation and SDGs efforts of the fashion industry, including modest fashion. And with collaboration with all stakeholders, along with everyone at the conference today, I believe we will accelerate the changes needed to strengthen the modest fashion ecosystem. Lastly, thank you for joining us at the Modest Fashion Week World Conference, and see you at the next event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Angela Tanu Sudibyo, for the closing note, and thus the series of events for the Modest Fashion Week World Conference 2021. Thank you to all ranks of the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, as well as participants who have attended, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, who have taken their time until the end of the event. But first, before we close today's event, let us enjoy the following video.
Kampung Melayu menukar kain sasirangan, pakaian raja. Ibu datanglah ke kota Banjarmasin, kota sungai terindah di Indonesia. Bekantan ya, Nasalis larvatus itu memang endemik Kalimantan, khususnya Kota Banjarmasin punya ikon sebagai ikon provinsi Kalimantan Selatan. Nah itu tetap harus kita jaga kelestariannya.
Pekan bekantan dari kepunahan, we love Indonesia Modest Fashion Week.
Antara Sahabat Bekantan Indonesia dan Indonesia Modest Fashion Week tahun 2021 dengan mengangkat tema Save Bekantan menjadi kesempatan besar untuk menggaungkan pelestarian bekantan, meningkatkan perhatian dunia, dan berkontribusi bersama.
Sebenarnya ini adalah ide briliannya Bu Jenny yang memang beliau itu sangat prihatin dengan bekantan ini, dan memang lewat IMF Modest Fashion dunia ini agar mereka semua juga bisa melihat ternyata di Indonesia, di Banjarmasin inilah ternyata bekantan satu-satunya binatang yang harus bisa dilestarikan.
Saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada Ibu Nur Asia Unuh yang mendukung acara kami Indonesia Modest Fashion Week. Juga terima kasih kepada Bapak Wali Kota dan Ibu, beserta Bapak Wakil Wali Kota dan Ibu, dan semua teman-teman desainer, juga teman-teman media. Terima kasih kepada semua kru Indonesia Modest Fashion Week 2021. Sampai ketemu di Indonesia Modest Fashion Week 2022.
IMFW 2021 berbekatan Wisma.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. My name is Trini Agustini, and it has been a pleasure of mine to be hosting this event. See you next year. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.